Da 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 da! What's my good chair? Welcome, everybody. It is my day off, and as much as I would like to say as I relaxed and flaked out, I am happier to say that I didn't, and I got some things accomplished. I'm very happy about that. You guys know that I am, and I'm getting closer and closer to being done. Now it's just kind of like a waiting game to go on this trip. But part of that staying busy is to keep my mind from going off into places where it shouldn't, in that little bit of catastrophizing, sometimes in self sabotage. I don't know. I've got a lot of tools on that belt right now. There haven't been any hiccups, there haven't been any wrenches thrown into the engine. I haven't even been anticipating that happening, and that's because I'm staying busy. I'm getting things done, even if it's just in my own day to day. Very pleased that I'm into the cleanup now, so that when I do come home from my trip, I'm coming home pleased with a cleaner, more organized setup, ready to start moving into some of those plans that I am already planning, you guys, right? I know I am capable of taking on more as we get more comfortable in what we're doing. It just naturally becomes easier for us. And that easy is the comfort zone, isn't it? At least that's the way I've been taught. That's the point when we're supposed to not throw the wrench into the engine, but to make some adjustments in our lives, to introduce some change into our lives, to expand deeper in what we're doing, to stretch a little bit elastic band, right? Stretching out of our comfort zone. That's the way it was explained to me, and it makes sense because the things that took you hours to do now take you moments sometimes. Sometimes in our prioritizing, we can better do that because, while we know what we need to bring to the table, those tools, those solutions, those resources to bring to the table, because we've been playing in it, we've been practicing it, we've been experiencing it, we've been adventuring in it, we've been talking about it. We have been good students, right? I do believe that, I was always meant to be a good student, but it's the environment that we're in. It's the discrediting, and it's the breakdown in our self confidence, in all truth, right? We wouldn't have ended up here otherwise, being highly sensitive and being empaths, right? Just didn't miraculously happen without the interactions of other thoughts, ideas, and experiences. And that's unfortunate, but at the same time, it can be fortunate because we have no choice but to sink and swim. And in that sinking, right? Right, it didn't matter. We're moving on to something else. We failed in that, but at least we can say that we put our effort in. But every once in a while, oh my goodness, we happen on to something that makes all the difference in the world. And that's the truth. And That's why I am still, right, in this game. I feel that I'm in this game. I believe I'm in this game. I'm acting like I'm in this game. So doesn't that make it so I am actually a player in this? And if I'm a player in this, right, I should be planning. I should be setting goals. I should be analyzing, and we should be, right, getting out those maps on the table and strategizing. I am a landscape kind of girl, you know. Uh, Sometimes, I get distracted by those beautiful, magnificent, dazzle and amaze kind of things. It's not necessarily that I need to be the participant, that I need to be the leader, right? There would be no great actors unless there was an audience to appreciate those great actors, right? You're acting, you can't even be an audience of one for yourself, can you? Well, I guess you can in this day and age. I mean, there's video and right, self-criticism and analyzing, right? Stressing out about what other people might think, right? Beating yourself down, talking yourself down, talking yourself out of it. Yeah. So, and it wasn't even some of the topics that were coming across my path today, because, like I said, I was in and out online today. I wanted to get a little bit ahead of the game, feel like that everything is on track, and if a wrench does get thrown into that engine, that everything else is taken care of. I could whip it together in a couple hours and be out of here if I had to, right? So if there are any problems that need to be taken care of, right, that there might be a little bit of flexibility and a little bit of time to find solutions in that. It's not forward thinking because you never know what those problems are going to be. You never do. It's always a surprise. It's always fly by the seat of your pants. But right, if you have a list of things to do before you leave in the last hour, right, and something gets thrown into that engine, that really can mess everything up. So why not try and get it all done beforehand, right? Not in anticipation of the hiccups and the disasters and the wrenches being going into the engine. But I don't know. Maybe it's in that over preparedness. Maybe it is in a past lifetime, in a past experience where that was the experience that, you know, that nothing good realized for me. But like I said, I got a few tools now that I do get myself in those situations that I can do a little bit better by myself. At least that's the idea. That's the idea. It doesn't always work out that way. But then again, right? There's lessons in that. And it's not like I'm going, yeah, bring it on, or right, one more, right, next, right? I can take it. Kick me while I'm down. It's not like that in any way. It's just that when you live your life worrying about what's going to beat you down next, right? It's not a good feeling. I remember I almost lost I tell the story all the time. I almost lost my apartment over COVID, right? The whole city got shut down. I couldn't even look for an apartment. Nobody was even showing apartments. My landlord, they wanted me out and I couldn't be out. So I just became like what are like those people that just live in their apartments, right? And just kept the doors locked and didn't answer the door. It was such a scary, scary situation. I had no idea if it was going to work out for me, right? Whether I would lose all my belongings, right? If I'd lose my cat, right? If they changed the locks on me, which they constantly threatened, taking me to court to get me out. I'd been in that apartment for, well, since my marriage failed, right? There was some change that needed to happen, and I guess that I was clinging on to that apartment just a little bit too tight. That I didn't take the hints, and I didn't see the serendipities, and in that trauma bond with myself, right? Knowing how important it was to keep a roof over my head, I panicked in that, and I clung to that apartment for dear life. But I remember the worry, right? It was terrible, right? Finally get a job, but still the landlord wasn't giving me any more time for ketchup, right? And I'd go to work every single day, not even knowing if I got home whether or not I would have been locked out of my apartment, right? Why am I telling this story? Because I didn't know that everything was going to be okay. If I knew everything was going to be okay, I wouldn't have put myself through that hairy scary. I wouldn't have put myself through that fear, because I did fear. I feared because I might not have a roof over my head, right? I feared that I would lose my job because I would have to hurry scurry in riding those waves, come up with another solution. I didn't see any solution at the time, right? And everything turned out to be okay. In the last moment, everything just fell into place. And in hindsight, looking back on that, I didn't have to do anything. I just had to apply myself and work hard in my new job, which I still have, right? And it was a great job. But I put myself through a lot of, right? Because it's hard, especially when you're ADHD, when you're hyper focused on, oh my goodness, I'm gonna lose my apartment, and at the same time you're going, oh my goodness, I gotta keep this job, right? This is my only chance to keep this apartment, or like I really actually thought that I'd be able to keep my apartment, I'd be on top of things and everything okay. It didn't work out that way, right? But everything did work out, and it worked out pretty nicely. I have to say, pretty painlessly. Mind you, there were moments in there that were meant to compound that fear in me, right? But I didn't have the tools back then to understand what was going on. I do believe I would do a little bit better this time. And a little bit better this time without those safety nets that I always had underneath me, right? I made it through that one, and I made it through without those safety nets. It's not like I didn't get help, right? But it wasn't expected. It wasn't sought after or asked after. It was in my own steam and kindnesses that I got through that situation. I didn't have to worry, but I did. Didn't have to stress out, but I did. Right? I didn't have to be in fear for my livelihood and the roof over me. I didn't have to do that. I didn't know what the outcome was going to be, though. And I rode those waves the best I can. But I have to say, Was it in riding those waves? If I knew everything was going to be okay, would I have moved towards the light at the end of the tunnel? Would I have come through it okay? Or was my contribution to that a big part of the reason why it resolved itself? I think it was probably the latter, right? One of those lessons. What you think about is realize. I stayed busy today because, right, I don't want to think about all the possibilities because I have a good imagination of all the things that could go wrong. So I'm going to make sure and minimalize, and right? As long as I don't forget my passport, and even that is taken care of and it's in my front seat binder, sitting with my front seat stuff, right? The house will be clean and organized. There will be a chance for me to forget something. I always seem to forget something, right? But I think I did pretty good this year. Now the problem is I'm not leaving for 12 more days, right? Got to be very careful what I add to this pile behind. The only thing that's not in this pile is my clothing bag because I'm wearing some of those clothes already during the course of the next couple of weeks for work and stuff, and my mattress. And but the mattress cover has been washed. It's all been put together, and right, I am ready to go. Hello, Melvin. Are you always cheery, Melvin? Always, always, right? We have moments. I do believe it's like seasons. Sometimes those seasons are only a couple of weeks long, right? Sometimes it's a combination of, right, the heat and the rain. Sometimes the wind's there, right? Cheery all the time. I try to, right? I try to, but I don't believe that if I'm unhappy or if things aren't working out for me, that I'm going to pretend and, right? I'll be kind through the process. I'll be calm through the process, right? But I'm not one for stifling, right? I'd much rather ride those waves, hurry, scurry, grumble through the process, and then just congratulate myself at the end of it, right? There are lots of times in our lives when we can't naturally be cheery, can we? When loved ones get sick or pass away or have issues in their own lives and being highly sensitive and empathic, right? We tend to worry about all of that. We worry more about all of that than we do actually worry about ourselves. Come to learn it's very, very important to keep myself happy, to keep myself on a path that I'm enjoying those landscapes. And it makes me happy. Makes me happy. I was busy all day today, right? And it's almost done. And I feel not just that I've accomplished, but I feel more rooted that this trip is happening. Not that there's any doubt, because everything I do is another nail, right, in that crate to make sure, right, that my goals, because these are my goals, these are my dreams, these are my sticks with the bag at the end of it. This is the evidence for other people out there who think they don't have the resources, that they don't think that it's possible to create something for themselves, just for themselves. Create something for themselves just so that you can have a taste of the possibilities. And this is what I do every September whether I feel I'm deserving of it, whether I accomplish anything, whether I feel like I've really earned it. Like, this is happening because this is movement. If nothing else works out in my life, right? It's just one stumble after the next. This is one thing that shows me well, right? I would never purposely fail in this trip. It would have to take something absolutely magnificently huge, right? Because this is something that I need. This is something that I earned. Right? I deserve this. I deserve this. And at the end of the day, it's going to make me smile. It's going to make me happy. And when I'm smiling and when I'm happy, right? You're always cheery. It rubs. It rubs so well. And I've seen that in action, right? I am one who shines on for sure. But this trip is for shining a little bit on myself, right? Created by myself and it's for myself, right? I'll be paying that forward, right? I will be paying for that forward because I'm making sure that this reward for myself is going to reward. Melvin, you're going to see every day of me on this trip, right? We'll be going back to video editing, right? We'll go back to video editing and I'll get good at it sooner or later. But I'm not video editing every single day because I'm a go live kind of girl. We just let it fly. You guys, I'm just popping in. I'm saying hi, right? I show up. It's hard, right? Good habits are just as hard to break as bad ones. But I think this one, like I said, is a pretty good habit. So we'll see each other tomorrow night, right? Got myself a cup of coffee. Now it's a little bit of downtime, true downtime. Like get on the pajamas and really flake out. Melvin, thank you so much for popping in, saying hi. Let me know that your good cheer tonight is that you're cheery. I'm happy to hear that. I'm cheery too. Everybody,